So the energy sector, of course, continues to be one of the most important focuses of the Planning and Community Development Department, but I wouldn't be remiss if I didn't also acknowledge engineering, survey, and permit services under the leadership of Greg Fenton, who manages the building permits and expedites moving these into construction, which is what everybody in this room is really interested in. You know, the financiers are fascinated by the process, but they want to know when you're going to have something in the ground and when something's actually going to operate. So we've had tremendous information here, but what I want to talk about now is our part of it, which is, you know, the process, the government regulatory process. But I wanted to start out, Johnny had to go from EDP, he had to catch a plane, but I stopped him outside and said, I just wanted to clarify, it did not take the Kern County Planning Department 8 years to process his wind project, and he said I could make that correction. It took the normal 2 years that we take with an environmental impact report. The rest of it was his regulatory hurdles and leasing land and whatever his internal company. I did want to clean that 8 years up there. That was kind of shocking. So, you know, when we have been able to, the Kern County Board of Supervisors has been very clear they want a business-friendly atmosphere. So we have revamped our zoning ordinance to allow energy uses with only a building permit. So a few years ago, we actually changed our ordinance. You can put as much solar on the roof, on the ground, small wind, as you can accommodate for your on-site use with only a building permit. And this has opened up all sorts of opportunities for people to control their energy use. It's a small thing that we can do for businesses. If they could control their energy costs, maybe they'll stay in California and actually hire some people and expand. Methane digesters. You can put a digester on your dairy with nothing but a building permit. You don't need a CUP. You don't need to go through a big CEQA process in Kern County. We have regulatory barriers in Sacramento, as always, to getting this natural gas into the gas system, but not at the local level. We've also looked at electricity storage. Southern California Edison didn't really need anything from us because they're a utility. But we have actually streamlined electricity storage. If you have a wind project or a solar project that already exists, you can do storage adjacent to that without any more permitting except for the building permit. We are interested in the results, not the process. So I want to talk a little bit about some of our accomplishments, but you've heard them. And I appreciate all the great things that people have said about Kern County. By the end of the year, we will have permitted 9,142 megawatts of solar, wind, biogas, and biomass. Now, I want to be clear that this is cities, school districts, water districts, this is distributed DG on the roofs, as well as our commercial scale. 2/3 of that is built. I had no idea that at 10,000 megawatts was actually not just throwing a hat over the wall, as they used to say, but throwing the whole county over the wall. You know, I knew we could do it, but what it really took is the people in this room and the businesses. You know, I am one of those people, because I'm a planner, that I keep track of statistics, and one of the statistics I'm most proud of is that in the last 7 years, companies outside Kern County have invested almost $18 billion of new private investment money in Kern County. EDF, EDP, Iberdrola, you know, NextEra, companies in America, companies in Europe. These companies came to Kern County because of what Sacramento and Congress was proposing. But they found here the regulatory environment that would make it worth their investment and the political stability and support from the Kern County Board of Supervisors. You don't just put $18 billion into California. California is a tough place. You could probably do it faster in Wyoming or Texas. You could be up and rolling. But these people are going to be here for 30 years, 100 years. And I'm very proud to say that we didn't waive one fee, we didn't give them a property tax bonus, and we didn't put money into the projects. We put in sweat equity. My department just worked harder. We learned the industry. We listened to our applicant partners. We gave them early information on where a bad location was and where a good location was so that they don't invest money in the wrong place. And we continue to support innovation in all of our energy sectors as well as our other sectors, residential, commercial, industrial. And we want to remind everyone that that $18 billion is dwarfed by the amount of investment in infrastructure that the oil and gas industry and the agricultural industry has made in Kern County's infrastructure as well. And we are interested in everything we can do to streamline them. So the question becomes, what's next? Innovation comes from industry. It doesn't come from government. But let's really see where vision comes from. Let's play our first video.
Sales are dropping like a rock. Our plan is to invent some sort of doohickey that everyone wants to buy. Well, the visionary leadership work is done. How long will your part take?
So I've heard it said that leaders are visionaries with a poorly developed sense of fear and no concept of the odds against them. That definitely describes me, and it describes a lot of the people in this room. But what are we doing here to make our next vision possible? So first of all, I want to reassure everybody that as business-friendly as we are, the public process is very important to us. We are not cutting corners. We did not accomplish all this with mitigated negative declarations. These are environmental impact reports. They were fully done. They were just done faster. And what I mean by faster is the public process takes a certain amount of time. It's the process before that. It's the process before that that actually government isn't always good at. They're not good at creating teams. They're not good at working with their applicants. And they're not good at being clear about what they need. So our streamlined CEQA process did not cut short a public process. In California, the California Environmental Quality Act, their intention is to make a better project. It's not just to create litigation, although that's what happens. And so we have been, we spend a lot of time individually talking to property owners, talking to neighbors, and encouraging our applicants to do that. The number one investment risk in California is permitting. I've heard this from financiers. I admit I'm probably a different planning director. I've welcomed conversations with people who are financing. They're the ones taking the risk. They've come to see me. I've been on conference calls all over Europe. And number one, the risk here is permit uncertainty. That's a terrible thing to say about a state, but that's what's true here. So one of the things we're trying to do in Kern County is demystify that. Here is how we're going to get you through the process. People are going to put up your money, but is there an end to this? That's what they want to know. Where is the end to this? One of our biggest industries, and I really appreciated Dan Richard and everybody's deep information. Someone brought up that oil production has been in decline. I'm not an expert on this, but I will tell you that permit uncertainty is one of the reasons that we have not been producing as much oil as we could. And the Kern County Planning Department, at the request of the Board of Supervisors and the applicants, Western States Petroleum, California Independent Petroleum, WISPA, SIPA, and IOPA, independent oil producers, are actually proceeding now with a streamlining of this permit process. We're doing a project-level environmental impact report on 2.8 million acres, all the oil in Kern County, and at the end of it, we'll have environmental protection with economic prosperity. Now, many people think we're doing this to open up the Monterey Shale. The bad news is that we're doing this to keep the permits going. The uncertainty, the lack of commitment from Sacramento to move through barriers has been an absolute detriment to our industry. This is an industry that provides 53% of the revenue for Kern County. It produces thousands of jobs. It provides for people's schooling. It is our people. And I'm proud that we've asked us to bring this streamlining forward. And I think that it is a testament that in Sacramento, they actually came and asked, hey, you did such great things with that renewable energy. Is there anything you can do to help our oil permitting structure? And so that process is proceeding. It will be in place by the middle of 2015, and we will have fast-track permitting. The Air District can use this environmental impact report. The state of California can use it. Everyone can use it. And we will have the information that people have asked for in regards to, are we protecting the water? Are we protecting the air? And we can actually provide a structure that brings investment back to California. There are people in this room completely more educated than me, but I am also clear that investment money has moved out of California in the oil and gas industry because of this permit uncertainty, and we want it back. And the last thing that we're working on in our spare time is a comprehensive update of the Kern County General Plan and the Metropolitan Bakersfield General Plan. Remember that this is an 8,000 square mile county, mountains, deserts, and valley. And we're going to start at the end of 2015. We're going to do a comprehensive overall of everything, and one of the things I'm most interested in is the energy element. I want to hear about innovations. I want to hear about new processes that we may need to modify our zoning for. We may actually need to revamp something to open up for a vision that I don't even know about. And then, how do we make things happen? That's the next question. So, I'd like to play our next video.
Whoa, that's not good.
Oh, I don't need this. I'm already late.
Somebody will come. Anybody out there?
Do you have a phone?
No. Sorry. Somebody! Hello? There are two people stuck on an escalator and we need help. Now, would somebody please do something? I don't believe this. You gotta be kidding me.
I'm gonna cry.
Well, there's not enough left to do, is there?
Hello? Hey, don't worry about it. I'll fix it in a second.
He said he can fix it. All right. All right. That's more like it. He says he can fix it.
Walking down the sidewalk, kicking my feet as I'm moving to the music. Step to the beat. I woke up today, canceled all my plans, and I stepped right outside with my guitar in my hands, and the notes became loud as the sound caressed the air, and I kicked it up a notch as I strolled without a care, 'cause I'm going down the road to a brand new place, and I'll get.
I think you would all agree that there are things in California we just need to get off the escalator. We're just not sure how yet. So I believe strongly that when we have the right team structure, we are off the escalator. The accomplishments of what you've heard today that Kern County has been because of a team. My extraordinary staff in the Kern County Planning and Community Development Department, the vision of the Board of Supervisors, the other county departments, are nothing without a strong applicant team. And so I'm going to take a prerogative here and tell you that I think I can recognize that team when an applicant comes to me. So I just wanted to give you some tips. First of all, it has experienced project management. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't promote from within and put somebody in charge, but this is a project, and it needs to move forward, and there are things that need to be done. And having someone who's good in the front office is not always the right person to move a project team. You need lawyers. I probably am the only government agency that welcomes lawyers. I want the lawyers involved at the beginning of the project, not at the end when they start saying, wow, why did you do that? So you need an experienced CEQA lawyer. You need those lawyers involved right from the beginning. You need to empower your technical experts, but you need to make sure that they're not leading the team. Technical experts get lost in the minutia. And many times what they want to talk about is fascinating, but not critical. And so you have to make sure that your technical experts are not spending all of your money and not truly moving you forward. And it also helps if they're familiar with the Kern County processes and pathways. They don't have to be. My team, my staff is experienced at laying out how it's going to work and moving you forward. And unlike other government agencies, I have a proactive government planning department. They are going to call and ask you where your project is. They are going to find out why it's not moving forward. If we've decided to move it forward, then let's move it forward. And one of the clear lines of communication that I always establish is I am clearly accountable to the Board of Supervisors for my department. And I want to know who's accountable on that applicant team. Not just responsible, but accountable. Who is that person? So that I can call them and say, your project stalled, or your project needs this, or wouldn't you like to spend a little more on X so that you can move it forward? Lastly, companies need to be committed to community involvement and resolution of issues. We are only 900,000 people in this county, and we care about every single one of them. And they are your neighbors, and they are your people who work for you. So companies have to be committed to go next door and find out what that concern is about their project. And I can honestly tell you that the renewable energy projects and the oil and gas companies care. And that's a Kern County trait. They will go out and personally meet with people, they know people's names, and they want to resolve these issues. So with these teams, we've created an unmatched energy sector, but you know, that's a lot of work, and that actually takes a lot of talent. So my thought is we could just hire this guy. Next video.
I love the mountains, I love the rolling hills, I love the flowers, I love the daffodils, I love the fireside when the lights are low. Boom diada, 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 boom. I love the ocean, I love the open sea, I love the forest, I love the bummer place, I love the stars above when night turns into day. Boom diada, 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 boom. I love the sunshine, I love the butterflies, I love the wind blow, I love the river flow, I love the city lights when the moon is high. I love the daisies, I love the sugar beets, I love the meadows, I love the summer breeze, I love to walk on by my head up in the sky. Boom diada, boom diada, boom diada, boom diada, boom diada, boom diada.
So the German quote says, when you're a giant, it's so easy to bring about great things. And I think we are a giant. I think we have companies here that have invested significant money into Kern County. They've invested in the future of Kern County. When you invest in an energy project, you're investing for 100 years. You're not investing for a year. This is not a big box who comes to town and then changes their name and leaves me with a building. These are people who have invested in transmission, in infrastructure, in solar panels, wind, drilling, and they will be here a long time. They are names that you know, and maybe they're names you don't know, but Kern County knows them. And they are interested in the long-term stability of our region, and they are ready and planning for growth. So I will leave you with the thought that what's next for Kern County is what you tell us is next. And we have significant challenges, and you heard about many of them. Regulatory challenges from Sacramento and Washington, and water and all of these things. I have no fear about moving into the future because we do have giants here, and we have people who have already invested, and with your leadership and our relationship, we can do anything. And I look forward to working with all of you.